By far, my favorite game announcements are when something is available today or soon. Never would I have expected that to be the case with God of War Valhalla, much less being free. Challenged by an anonymous letter, Kratos ventures to Valhalla to step up to it, knowing only that his opponent is phrased as being his past, his future, himself. He doesn't yet know that those words will be both figurative and literal. With the format for the experience being rogue-lite, I was curious how well the series would adapt, and whether it would be just a side story or serve to further the main one. Not only is Valhalla good, but unsuspecting surprises spread throughout. Its ending feels like the proper conclusion to God of War Ragnarok. Upon arrival on its shores, accompanied by Mimir, Kratos forces his way past Valhalla's gates. In Norse mythology, it represents a warrior's heaven, a final destination for those claimed by battle. For us, it's a proving ground. Valhalla shapes itself after the memories of those who enter, providing the perfect basis for a roguelite. Enemies like the environment are in flux, where you'll be tasked with clearing arenas, and there are several. The combat of God of War has always been satisfying, best when pushed. So designing a mode in which most of our time is just that, back to back, man is it gratifying. Valhalla will shed Kratos of everything but his weapons, having him earn perks, stat buffs, and runic attacks instead, and those rewards feel endlessly stackable. It's addictive, chiefly with the random factor, where a Kratos from one run can dramatically differ from the next. The starting perk doesn't tend to mold your choices toward a specific weapon, so you may end up picking favorites. The Draupnir spear was mine, siphoning magic, creating whirlwinds, and exploding spears made it feel amazing. Even so, I do try to have a runic attack with each weapon, if not for the damage, the breather. The difficulty is set just right, feeling doable but out of reach, challenging but not crushing. Like the main game, you can choose how hard you want the game to be, with the hardest being the real deal, insta-death. I love it, that you dictate the pace of Valhalla, that the definition of what's rewarding is for you to decide. Not every roguelike provides the leeway, so it is an appreciated option. Death may be constant, but it only fosters your resolve, sharpens your reactions. You seldom start a run without thinking, this time I got this. How could you not, when roguelikes don't just soften, but return punches and permanent upgrades. On the shores of Valhalla are two tablets, one to augment Kratos' stats, and the other to tune Valhalla's favor in issuing rewards. A single stat point or change to Valhalla is an investment you can feel, and you're always on track for multiple, with currency for them slowly doled out by chests, achievements, or shattering pots and rest areas. These places generally come up after each fight, and serve two main functions. One, to buy current run only goods, and two, choosing your reward type for an arena. I'm sure it's clear that you're equipped for the journey, which you won't lack the motivation to get through. The story of God of War Valhalla is more elaborate, and to my surprise, meaningful than I ever would have imagined. In mastering himself, Kratos must reconcile who he was in Sparta, who he is now, and what his future holds as a God of War. It sounds conceptually cool, but too lofty for a DLC to execute, at least to a fulfilling degree. Yet that is exactly what Santa Monica Studio has done. The dreamlike quality of Valhalla allows Kratos to confront his past in ways that left me in disbelief. I've been a fan of God of War since the PS2 era, having played nearly all on release. The scene that most comes to mind when I think of the franchise is this one.
Zeus, your son has returned! I bring the destruction of Olympus!
It still gives me goosebumps. It's so badass. His animosity for the gods that betrayed him, whose resolve was as unwavering as it was brutal. I have enjoyed the direction his character has taken though, now tempered by age and reflection. Rejecting who he was and unsure of his future, the revelation at the end of Ragnarok specifically was powerful. What I have been left wanting, however, was a more focused look into his past. Valhalla doesn't just provide it, it provides closure. It casts a new light, reinterpreting events. You may want to replay the older games with what you'll learn. For something off for free, it's baffling how much effort and thought was placed into the experience. Visuals, sound design, voice acting, it's all remarkable. It reflects a project produced with care, joining Returnal as one of the most visually attractive 3D roguelites I've ever played. Conquer Valhalla, and a classic Kratos skin awaits. Good for the mode as well as the main game. It's a bit surreal having an official skin, considering the mods on PC for God of War 2018, but cool. And on the subject of looking at, there are a number of skins for our armor and weapons. They don't offer any effect, but the inclusion is undeniably awesome, describing the whole experience perfectly. I labor to find anything that overshadowed the fun. At times, I thought I had something, like enemy count, or how often an area is reused. Yet dying with the frequency I did on the hardest difficulty on a fresh playthrough, they were dispelled. Too few areas? Quantified, perhaps. In play, no. I missed out on a few discussions and rest areas. That's only true though, not by the game's design. We're rushing through areas or forgetting context in the resumption with the next. When you're pissed from a death, on a warpath, it could happen. The only thing I can say is that I would have liked to see dragons among the boss pool. They hold some of my fondest memories in parrying, but that's a wish, not a shortcoming. I find the roguelite mode too good, too fun that a price wouldn't have swayed the opinion. My expectations were measured for God of War Valhalla. I suspected it would be good, but since it was free, insubstantial, not the phenomenal experience that was received, fluidly adapting the gameplay into a roguelike framework, and expanding on Kratos' past in such a fulfilling way. I don't know what's on the horizon for Santa Monica Studio, but I have no doubt once it crests, what will be brought forth will be something extraordinary. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.